And it wasn't only late nights; it was also early mornings with that quarterfinal going till 12:15. Um, but let's talk about the women's competition as well. Beau Greaves completing the hat trick of women's world titles, dropping just one set en route. She's already confirmed that she will be back at Lakeside next year. But what other goals could there be for the ladies number one? What that she could set herself for 2025?
Yeah, just touching on that confirmation as well from Bo that she's going to be back at Lakeside next year. I think she's getting quicker and quicker at making a world championship decision each year. You go back a couple of years, she joked about milking it because people kept asking her. So she said that she was going to start her own world championship. This year, she announced it after winning the women's world match play that Lakeside was a destination again this winter. Well, just a few minutes after coming off stage in the final last night when we're talking, she's retained the women's world title, and she's already said in her interviews that she is going to be back at Lakeside in 2025, which is great news for the WDF because Beau is one of their most marketable and famous stars that they've got playing in their biggest tournaments. And I think it's also great for the ladies game as well because, yes, obviously every other ladies player would have hoped Beau would pick Ali Pally over Lakeside, which would boost all of their chances of winning the title. But for the ladies game, you need to have your top ladies competing in your world championships, and Beau is by far the top ladies player right now. But as for goals for 2025 for Beau, Lakeside and the women's match play, defending those two titles, that's going to be high on the agenda. But I think next year could be a year where we see Beau Greaves again branch out further, playing against the men. And she's going to get the opportunity to do that as well through I think the PDC World Masters in January, if I'm not mistaken. The top players from the women's series get invited to that. The UK Open, the qualification structure's changed for that. We've not got the Rileys qualifiers anymore. There is that one-day qualifier, which if you listen to our Under the 128 special with Matthew Kiernan at Lakeside last week, he's already confirmed his spot in those qualifiers. So hopefully Beau follows suit and plays in them as well. The development tour, she's still got a few years left where she's going to be eligible for that. And you look at this year as well, without fully committing to it, she ended up finishing 8th and won a title, and that was playing, I think she only played half of the 24 events. So maybe we see her play another weekend or two of that. And the World Youth Championship in the PDC, I'd love to see Beau give that a go as well. And with some of these events, there could be some clashes. I think this year the World Masters, the WDF one that is, clashed with the last week of the development tour. So sometimes you've got to choose between one or the other. And I think it's worth mentioning as well some of the other young female talent that we saw at Lakeside as well, not just Beau Greaves, but Sophie McKinley, 18 years old, making the women's and girls finals. Paige Pauling, I think she's only 16, winning the girls title, but those two, along with Beau, who's still only 20, I don't know how closely they know each other. I think Paige and Sophie are quite close, but all three of them, if you got those three together, going to development tours as a group, being the flag bearers for other young girls to pick up darts and improve their game, I think that would be nice to see. And I know Beau is very passionate about ladies darts, wanting to push that side of the game on. So if she can have some support from other girls in those events, like maybe Paige and Sophie and some others, that might push her on as well to commit to more things, like playing more of the development tour in 2025.
Yeah, I hope the development tour is one of those goals. Whether she goes to Q School so that she can play the challenge tour at the very least, we'll see. But she runs the risk that if she goes to Q School, she'll win a tour card because she's obviously good enough. You look at the challenge tour, the development tour, you mentioned it. She played half the events. 9 of those 12, she made the quarterfinals in. She finished 6th in averages, ahead of Dylan Slevin, ahead of Leighton Bennett, ahead of Nathan Rafferty, players who've been around playing the PDC Pro Tour for a long time. Owen Bates as well, Jared Cole. She was well ahead of all of them in averages, behind only Wessel Nyman, Jan Van Veen, Nico Springer, Keen Barry, and Sebastian Bielecki. That's not a bad quintet of players to be behind, 4 of whom will be at the PDC World Championships starting this weekend. I think she should push herself. Again, we've talked about it. It's up to her. If she doesn't want to, she doesn't want to. We've seen very good players who decided that's just not the life for them. Harry Ward being the biggest example. We saw him play a little challenge tour this year after going back to Q School, but he walked away from it. It wasn't the career he wanted. And maybe Beau Greaves just doesn't want that that career, at least not at this point in her life. She is only 20. But she has the game. She has the ability. She's shown it when we have seen her push herself against men. But as far as what the goals will be, I think retaining the titles, doing better than this past year, and part of doing better would be not losing any matches in the WDF. She did lose one this past year. Dominating the women's series like she did a few years ago. The first part of this year, she struggled quite a bit. She was clearly the best player by the middle of the season and the second half of the season, but she wasn't at the start of the year. She struggled a bit. Having a full year of dominance, maybe you can't win all 24, even if you play all 24, but aiming to win 3 out of 4 each weekend like she's capable of, maybe that's now the goal, trying to win 3/4 of the titles and defending the women's world match play. Beyond that, we'll have to see. We'll hopefully hear from her at some point about what those goals are. We'll keep our eyes peeled to see if she does go to Q School to open up the Challenge Tour as well. But we'll see it, and we'll see if she keeps progressing. She is the best female player in the world. She's one of the best youth players in the world still, as her performances on the development tour showed. And we'll have to wait till next year to find out what that brings.